Good morning and welcome to the IDP Start Sit Show. I am joined today by Shawn T, who you can find on X at Shawn8386. I am having Shawn. I'm getting bad echoes right now. So can you take over while I try and figure out how to get rid of
I'm
this
not.
echo?
I'm not seeing this on YouTube right now either. I don't see it popping up on the YouTube channel.
I have the questions coming in.
Do you? Yeah, I'll second here.
Hey, so for those that are live with us, hold on tight, please. I will try to figure out what might be going on here.
Technical difficulties.
Shawn, do you have an extra mute on over there, or extras? Do you have an extra?
I got it. Looks like we're working. So you good?
I'm still here in the background repeating of myself, but we're going to
That's
try and work
now
through
that
this.
happens with me a lot too. Not I don't know if it's a studio or what. But anyway, let's roll. Is it still going?
Okay. So, all right, I'm Ricky Rod. You could Ricky Rod. You find me at Ricky Rod 66. I'm going to go back out and come back in, everybody. Hopefully that doesn't screw things up. I apologize. This has never happened to us before, but I'll be right back.
All right, guys, it's just me. Got Ricky out of here. Yeah, clearly we're having some issues here. We tried some different things with the getting scheduled live here and all that. Ricky's having some technical issues with obviously his sound, microphone, and whatnot. So never fails. Always happens when we go live. Doesn't happen in the pre-game there. So anyway, you can follow Ricky at Ricky Rod 66. I am Shawn Teague at Shawn8386 on the X, Twitter, all that good jazz. Looking at some linebacker injuries this week. We'll start out with one of the bigger stories here. Dre Greenlaw, suspended. Not the best call in the world. Nobody liked it. Quite soft by the referees, if we're being honest, but he has suspended one game. Justin Strnad is the guy again this week. The next one up, Quincy Williams, activated from IR. So all those Kiko Mauigoas, they're out. So, Ricky, you're back too.
Test 1, 2, 3. Can
Just
you hear me
like
all
Quincy
right?
Williams. Yeah, you're good, man.
Can you hear? All right, outstanding. All right. Really apologize. Don't know what was causing a massive delayed echo that I was getting, but so glad to hear you guys. I heard Shawn kind of going through the injury list and all. A couple of things we want to call out here. Devon Diablo, who was put on IR by the Falcons. Of course, J.D. Bertrand got all his playing time, but the defensive coordinator for the Falcons talked about the fact that it almost sounds like it's going to be a platoon. And Ronnie Harrison was signed to the active roster from the practice squad. Jordan Fuller was activated from IR. Harrison is a former safety who got moved to linebacker. Jordan Fuller, they've talked in the past about moving him close to the line of scrimmage. So if you have other options besides J.D. Bertrand, and happy to take some of those questions as we go on, we want you to be really careful about that there might be a chance that Bertrand's not 100%, folks. So we're going to watch that carefully. On the Commanders side of things, I talked on the show on Tuesday night, which was released Wednesday morning. So please come to our IDP Advice Show. Always great info out there. But I talked about the fact how I'm really concerned about the Commanders using Frankie Louvu even more on the edge, as happened in the game last week when Dorrance Armstrong got hurt. The defensive coordinator for the Commanders. See, that's why you come to the show. You get all this scoop. We do all this research for you. He talked about the fact that they want to get Jordan McGee more involved and even Kane Madrano more involved. They've also been concerned about their pass coverage. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Bobby Wagner coming off on very obvious and third and long situations as well. Worst case scenario, I think we see Wagner and a lot more McGee. And potentially we see, because he even referenced Kane Medrano, the rookie, what was he, 6th rounder, 7th rounder that they drafted, as getting a little bit playing time as well. So maybe, and I wonder if Wagner even ends up on a little bit on the edge to try and help him out a little bit. This could be really interesting for the Commanders, folks. You heard it here first, but when frickin' Carla Garden got put on IR again yesterday, I used his spot when I put him on my IR teams, on my dynasty teams, to actually pick up Jordan McGee. All right, got that off my chest. A couple of key notes for you guys to be aware of as we go into the week. Hopefully, y'all saw Jeff Simmons is out. Can't play Jeff Simmons. We also have folks like Bryce Huff out, Hassan Reddick out, Jelon Walker out. Trey Hendrickson is questionable. Shawn, before we get into everybody's questions, which we're about to do in a second here, they say he's good to go. He was out with a back injury. He was limited practice all week, including missing practice on Friday. Are you playing Trey Hendrickson if you have him in a lineup or in one of your leagues?
Oh, boy. Probably not going to get a lot of snaps against the Jets. That offense has been awful. But there is a chance he gets a sack. I guess if you have no other option, yes. But if you have a viable option to swap out, I'm swapping him out.
Yeah, I'm really concerned. You're talking about a back injury. We never saw full practice.
Yeah.
This just doesn't feel good. So if you have other options, I would consider playing them. I'm with somebody else. But if you other options, if there's a big drop off, it is the Jets that they're going against, who with Justin Fields, who has given up a ton of sacks. So that's your one saving grace. All right, Shawn, how about we jump into the questions here?
I'm ready.
All right, Fantasy Breakout says, hi, guys. Hope you had a great week. I did up until I was having those technical difficulties at the beginning of the show.
And when Kyler Gordon got put on IR, he's
and when Kyler Gordon. Yeah, that's great. All right, he wants us to rank these linebackers for this week. We got Levante David, Jeremy Sherwood, Carson Schlesinger, and Caden Ellis.
Sherwood's at the top for me.
Sherwood's at the top for me.
That is that offense is. Those guys are staying on the field a ton. Yeah, so he's number one. Schlesinger, number two.
Ooh.
I know the matchup isn't good, but every time I try to take him out of the lineup because the matchup isn't good, he gives me a bunch of tackles. But I don't trust Caden Ellis or Levante David to get more than Schlesinger, regardless of the matchup. These guys have been underproducing in a lot of games. So Schlesinger 2 for me. This next one's a bit of a toss-up. I might go Ellis over David.
Wow. The matchups for Schlesinger, for Ellis, for Zaire Franklin are really bad this week. I'm playing Tatum Bethune over Zaire Franklin this week.
I would do that anyway.
Yeah, I'm doing Servasia Dennis over Caden Ellis in that same league right now because of the matchup with the Saints and the matchups that don't like with Schlesinger and Ellis. So Fantasy Breakout, we're kind of split on this one. We both have Sherwood first.
Yep.
I have Davis second, Schlesinger third, and Ellis fourth. So slight differences there. But the matchups, I would keep your expectations low on Schlesinger and Ellis if you go with them. Maybe they will surprise, but David might be your best chance. But, of course, he hasn't been producing that much either. He's been bailed out by a lot of big plays as well. So the last three are almost a toss-up the more I think about it.
Yeah, he's been on the injury list quite a bit too. I know he's cleared to play, but he's been banged up a good bit at his age. I don't like it.
All right, let's look at the next question from Fantasy Breakout here. Also, what is wrong with Henley getting worse each week? Part of it hasn't been great matchups, but I watched the Vikings game, and where oftentimes they had the two inside linebackers, whether it had been Perryman or then Dye, then now back to Perryman and Henley, and you saw them both between the tackles on almost every play. I noticed a significant number of plays, and I haven't been able to go through the data yet, where Henley was like lined up more as a will outside linebacker outside the tackles. That makes me nervous as heck. And then, of course, if you watch the game, he actually did petition almost bail us out with a sack that was overturned by a 5-yard illegal touch or whatever it was, which just pissed me off. But anyway,
Ricky's fired up today, guys.
yeah, Henley's utilization on the field, not being between the tackles as much, is really hindering his performance right now. So that has me a little bit worried. Sort of like what was going on with Jermaine Pratt of the Raiders. Although with Pratt, they had him literally lining up right next to defensive end. I mean, right on the line. Henley is even a little bit further back, which gave him a little bit more room to roam. But it's how his positioning was on the field. Now with Derwin James having a low ankle sprain, will that change this coming week? I don't know. But after these past 3 weeks, as we'll talk more in the advice show that we tape on Tuesday night, which I'll come back to here in a little while, folks. Remind me, you're going to want to hear about that advice show. But I'm not feeling great about him, Shawn. Sorry for rambling so long on that one. What you got?
He played 39 snaps. You can't do anything with 39 snaps this past week. So bad matchup, not enough snaps. They played 39. The team played 49. So he got pulled late in the game. It was a blowout. Just you can't get enough snaps or enough stats on 39 snaps. So until they get a better matchup where the game's close and he's on the field for 60, 70 snaps, we're not going to see big numbers. So the worst teams that they play are going to give them even less snaps. So check the matchups. If it's a better matchup, two good teams, play them then.
And the week before, excuse me, and the week before they fell behind. And
so
they
far
were playing
behind.
catch up, very far behind. And so the offense was playing a lot of catch up and working their way down the field. And Justin Herbert threw for over 450 yards, I believe, if I remember correctly. So that meant the defense didn't play as many snaps as you would hope either in that kind of game. So anyway, all those things contributed fantasy breakout. We'll see who the matchup is as we get into next week, and then we'll give y'all some recommendations here, as we get into the Tuesday show. All right, so Fantasy Breakout is also asking, rank these defensive backs for the rest of the season.
Curl, number 1.
Agree.
Taking Lake, number 2.
Agree.
Debo, then Jones.
So we're aligned. The only thing I would caution is we got to check on Debo and see how bad the injury is. They didn't put him on injured reserve, so that would lead me to believe it's not a long outage time for him. And Marcus Jones, of course, has had those couple of interceptions, sacks the last few weeks. But Shawn, I don't know if we can count on those to continue.
It's asking a lot. That's where I like Debo, as long as he's healthy. I know it's a knee injury. It's probably going to take at least 2 weeks. He has such a high tackle floor. He gets targeted a lot. And that's what I want. So I almost put him over Lake if he's fully healthy.
All right. Bird says, morning, guys, and welcome back, Shawn. You missed Wednesday. Well, Bird, that hurts my feelings. Are you saying cruddy job without it?
Writing that down. Missed
All right,
my Bird.
Yeah, exactly right. Thank you, Bud. So we've got the scoring system. As a reminder, thank you for putting the scoring systems, everybody. I have one flex spot, Morig or DeForest Buckner. This is it. DeForest Buckner is going against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. I wrapped that one up.
Morig's going against the Bills, who have given up a lot of points to linebackers. I can't remember safeties off the top of my head.
They are 28th. So not so much to safeties. Or not as much, but you're right. He does play closer to the line, like a linebacker. So we could probably put him in that hybrid area there.
But with 4.5 for a sack.
Yeah, I got to go with Buckner.
Yeah, I think Buckner's going to have a great game today against Tennessee, and I expect 6 tackles combined and sack for Buckner this week. I'm in on Buckner.
2 sacks for Buckner?
No, I said 1. Hey, don't be putting words in.
I'm saying 2.
Oh, you're going with 2, all right?
I'll go 2.
All right, Bird has another question here. Jevon Holland was changed from doubtful to out yesterday. Dane Belton is available, and he's asking should he drop any of these others for Dane Belton? And those others are Trevin Morig, Talanoa Hufanga, Deshaun Elliott, or Xavier Watts. Holland's not going to be out for an extended period of time, and he doesn't have a short-term need here based on these folks. I'm not doing it, Shawn.
No, I like all these guys over Belton. I do think Belton plays closer to the line of scrimmage, and Newman will drop deeper this week and probably next week while this injury gets assessed here. That's something we got to keep looking out for this weekend. But no, I'm not dropping any of these guys for him.
So we are aligned. Keep them all, Bird. Now, I'm not saying Belton might not have one good week or 2 good weeks while Holland's out. But for the long haul, you've got great safeties there. You're keeping those because Belton will go back to the bench when Holland returns. Okay, fantasy sports. What's up, fellas? What's up, fantasy sports? All righty. Yes, 3 linebackers on bye. Yeah, I figured we get a lot of these types of questions. Barrett Carter in for 1, right on board there with that.
Man.
For second linebacker spot, is Bernard active today? He was questionable, the quote, dreaded expected to play, but we won't know for 15 more minutes.
Yeah, he was definitely trending towards playing, as was Matt Milano last I seen. So that kind of hampers Shaq Thompson here.
Right.
To some degree.
So let's assume for a second for our audience that both Bernard and Milano are out. Are you going with Bertrand or are you going with Shaq Thompson?
If they're both out, I'm taking Shaq Thompson.
Exactly. Based on the comments I made earlier, I know Bertrand had a good game, but it's not too often a defensive coordinator go out and say, hey, we have all these guys that can, replace Devon Diablo, and including some that are run stoppers and some that are more pass defense types, for lack of a better term, pass coverage types. That just made me really nervous. Now, that Albrecht could have been screwing with us. We've seen many coaches do that to us this year. But of these two, particularly if Bernard and Milano are both out, Shaq Thompson will be wearing the green dot in the middle is our expectation. And I'd rather go with him, who I would expect to have the 100% versus Bertrand, who might, but might not. Harry Brooks. Hey, Harry. Good morning, team. With all the bye week, I'm starting Winfield. Should I start him or drop him for Belton or Bertrand? And other options he could pick up are Mr. Murray from the Cowboys, E.J. Speed, and Trevin Wallace.
All these are gross. I don't feel good about hardly any of them. Wallace is probably the name I trust the most out of that list, but I am not picking him up.
If you wanted for 4 tackles.
Yeah. Can Murray give me 4?
Murray can give you 6, but I don't know if I don't think I'm dropping Winfield for any of these guys. Though.
We're not dropping Winfield at all.
Yeah, not for these guys for sure.
No. Too many short-term possibilities here. Belton's short-term, Bertrand's short-term. Murray might be short-term with DeMarvin and Overshawn coming back soon. Wallace just feels like borrowed time. Same with Speed. That could change week to week. I don't trust that either. So, nope.
Yeah, Speed's in that rotation with Toto right now, which makes them both really hard to play. Skywalker. Hello there, Skywalker. I have Butner and Will Anderson as my starting D-line. Drop any for Highsmith, Zach Allen, Derek Brown, Latu, Alex Wright, or Quinnen Williams. I assume that's Quinnen and not Quincy. 5 points for a solo. A sack is worth 10 points. Assist is worth 3.
Wow. I'm definitely keeping Buckner and Anderson. I like some of those others, but not over those 2 guys.
Yeah, and Quinnen Williams did finally have a great game last week with 8 tackles, but that's been an outlier for him this year so far.
Yeah, he's not really getting sacks for us either.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Derek Brown had a good game recently, but that last game was against the Jets, if I recall correctly.
Most of these guys are defensive tackles. So, and Buckner's one of the best out there, if not the best. So you already have that covered. Anderson gives you the sack upside. Wright might give you some sack upside this week too, but I still don't want to risk it if I have Will Anderson sitting there.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm with you on that. Okay, fantasy sports has funny. I punted on linebacker in my offense with IDP draft, and I ended up with Jack Campbell, Devin White, and Nate Landman, though all three are on bye. But who would have thought they'd be among top 7 linebackers start of the year?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I had Devin White making it to the top 24. If you go back and listen to our top 24 linebacker show in terms of who's going to be in and who's going to be out. And I think we had put Landman in there as well, Shawn. I can't remember 100%. So we had him in the top 24, but not necessarily in the top 7 fantasy.
None of these were top 7. Jack Campbell was the closest. But yeah, Devin White, I was getting as like linebacker 5, 6 in a lot of drafts. And he's my main starter right now in just about all of them.
Well, dude, I'm really glad it worked out for you that it's going so well with your team in terms of punting on linebackers and ending up with that. That's freaking awesome. All right. Speaking of, now let's go to team defensive heroes. We got the Packers against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Aaron Rodgers revenge game. We have the Falcons versus Miami, and we have the 49ers versus Houston. And news this morning that Tua Tagovailoa is going to still play, but he's playing with an illness. Of course, some would argue he's been playing with an illness all year, the way he has looked.
Wow.
Says Ricky taking
Did we do that? Yeah.
It's Sean Teague, the Miami Dolphins fan over there.
Yeah, this is a Waddle jersey, not a Tua jersey. There is a 7 with this one. So,
all right. So there's some interesting plays here, but I think I got to go the Falcons with the Miami defense, even without Diablo. The Falcons versus the Miami offense. The Miami offense is struggling. But by the way, part of the reason I was against playing Caden Ellis earlier question is because Miami is giving up some of the lowest or having some of the lowest snap counts on offense, which is creating limited opportunities for IDPs on defense. And with the Falcons being like a top 3, top 5 type of defense, depending on what you use for stacking them. And it's in Atlanta, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, it is in Atlanta. This is just has all the writings on the wall of Mike McDaniel's last game.
I can't argue with any of that. I'm definitely not taking the Packers against Steelers. I don't trust that at all. Miami's been giving up a lot of points to defensive teams. So yeah, I'm with you. The 49ers would be my second choice because Houston they're not living up to expectations either. Lost Nico Collins as well. The running game still isn't really doing anything. That offense is struggling. The offensive line is giving up sacks. However, 49ers don't really have anybody to go get those sacks right now. With Bryce Huff being out and Gross Matos, I think, is out, which he's not all that anyway.
Is out. Still. Exactly right. No Bosa, no Huff. Tatum Bethune is going to rack up a bunch of tackles, but not expecting many big plays from him, even though he had a sack wiped off the board last week because of a penalty. But still, the Falcons, to me, just Falcons first, 49ers close second, but only because they just don't have the studs on defense for the 49ers.
Another 3 interceptions for Tua this week.
Yeah, particularly on the road. Yep, that's what I think is going to happen. All right, Kevin Hutchinson. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Good morning to you, sir. Big 3 scoring. Last defensive line slot. Joseph Osai versus the Jets, Kayvon Chason versus the Browns, or Alex Wright at the Pats. Now, I will confess I have one league where I'm starting both Chason and Alex Wright right now as 2 of my 3 edges. I don't have Osai on that particular team, but I didn't need to. I need to play 3, and so they're 2 of the 3 that I'm going with. I know I've made a lot of fun of Alex Wright, Shawn, but he's put up some, pretty solid stats across from Myles Garrett right now. So, which one do you like for his last defensive line slot? I do like Chason against the Browns. I
Yeah,
think it'll be. I
there's a
think
lot
it'll
of
be.
a lot of
Yeah,
good matchups here.
yeah.
I do understand the question because they're all real close into who's giving up sacks. I feel like I
Now this
think Osai's out for me. I just he doesn't do enough extra.
even against
Whereas
the Jets,
even
exactly.
against the Jets, limited snaps is what I'm thinking here, especially with Justin Fields being on there. Now Wright's given a lot more tackles than say Chase on, so I kind
On
of
a
like
1-2-3
that.
scoring system, I think I'm leaning towards right over Chase on because
That's
of the scoring system.
that's where I'm going there. It's between those last two. I think I'll take Wright. I wouldn't hate you for taking Chase on if you want to go for the bigger points and get a sack or two. Uh, but Wright can get that sack as well and add all those tackles. So I'm with you. Wright, Chase on.
All right, Kevin has one more question. It's okay if you have another question too later, Kevin. By the way, is
Yeah, we don't
for his
limit.
last, yeah, uh, for his last linebacker spot, Buchanan versus the Bears or Demetrius Knight versus the Jets. And we appreciate you too, Kevin, being a regular. So thank you.
I think. Oh man, I'm
Demetrius Knight has
leaning.
been so up and down in his production, where at least Buchanan's production has been regular. And I do expect, particularly now with Lamar out, for the Bears to be able to run the ball more.
Yeah,
And that has me leaning towards Buchanan.
I could actually see the Ravens defense doing decent today, and I want to say Knight. I could be wrong on this, Ricky, but I want to say I was seeing him picking up more snaps down on the defensive line,
Yeah. He
and
did
that,
play
that
80
takes him
something percent of the snaps last week, but he only had 4 tackles.
right. And like I say, I want to say he was playing more on the line instead of more off ball, so that's taking him away from the tackles more too. So that's something I want to look at more this weekend. So yeah, Buchanan for me as well. I
Okay.
guess the right
All
call.
right. We are aligned, Kevin, on Buchanan. Good luck to you. Fantasy breakout with a question here. In a half PPR national tight end day, Mason Taylor, Jawan Johnson, Evan Ingram, or Loveland? Let's start with that question first.
Oh boy.
And happy national tight end to all the tight ends that are out there listening and watching before they go in the
Yeah,
field.
all of them that are listening and watching. Maybe we got one listening. Um, I I just don't trust Justin Fields enough to do the Mason Taylor thing. I'm leaning Johnson or Ingram.
Jawan did have a little bit of a comeback. Now, there is Colston Loveland here, who there is no Cole Kmet this week. Baltimore has been giving up a lot of points to tight ends. The problem is that was with a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
Now they're still struggling on the defensive line with Matabwiki on injured reserve, Roger Washington on injured reserve, but Kyle Van Noy's back um, to help with some of the pressure. Loveland is very interesting to me. This could be his breakout game. But of these guys, Ingram is playing against the Cowboys, Shawn, who are playing Marquise Bell
and who
and
knows?
probably Elijah Clark as their 2 safeties, with Hooker on injured reserve, with Donovan Wilson declared out, and with Wanya Thomas declared out with migraines again.
The
That just,
entire secondary is beat up. But yeah,
yeah,
that
not
opens
to
up.
mention Trevon Diggs. But they haven't been using Ingram a whole lot. At least
It's
I know
true.
Johnson got more usage like he was, last week, like he was earlier in the season. Boy, this is a tough one. Feels like whichever one we call is going to be the wrong one. Just, I feel bad
There's
fantasy
no
break.
winners this week. I'm still leaning Jawan Johnson this week. I think he's the guy I feel the most comfortable with, who I think has the highest floor. Understand wanting to take the big shot with Loveland. Ingram's got a good matchup. They're just not using him enough. But Mason Taylor, he was banged up all week at practice. Justin Fields, I don't know what Justin Fields is going to do. Justin Fields doesn't know what Justin Fields is going to do. So it feels like a
Apparently,
bigger
he can't
gamble.
complete a pass according to his owner.
Yeah, it's obvious. They
All
didn't have
right,
to tell
so
us.
I think we're going to go with Juwan Johnson on this one. But boy, I wouldn't be surprised if Colston Loveland we're next week we're getting more questions about him because of he has a breakout type of game. You
Speaking
have
of
some news there, Shawn?
speaking of breakouts, we got some breaking news. Drake London is out.
Does that change your Falcons defense thing against Miami as a side note?
No, as they had Bijan
With,
Robinson who run all over the Dolphins and keep them off the field. So when they are on the field, they're going to have to throw, which means Tua's going to get sacked. He's going to throw interceptions. I'm still sticking with the Falcons defense.
all right, I'm looking to see. Jalen Hyatt's inactive. Wow. All right, so it's 10:31 Central Time. So the inactives should start coming out soon. We'll be keeping an eye on those. Skywalker says, "What's your take on Drake Thomas? Decent numbers last week.
Injured.
Does 100% of the snaps, and the numbers are because of no Witherspoon and Love in lineup. Use EJ Speed. Do you see EJ Speed taking over Houston linebackers? So let's start with Drake Thomas. So last week, Tyrese Knight played a total of goose egg snaps. The week before, Tyrese Knight played 2 snaps. And if I remember correctly off the top of my head, Drake Thomas played about 90% of the snaps. Now, typically, Shawn, for the Seahawks second linebacker, we're seeing it closer to the 80% range, if I remember correctly.
High
Now,
70s, stuff like that.
now when Love comes back, when Witherspoon comes back, they're going to be trying to get Iman Wari on the field more. Do you think
When
that would take that 90% from Drake Thomas back to that 80, 75% range? I think the answer is yes, potentially.
I think so too, but we're having such an issue getting these guys on the field this year that I'm not sure it's going to matter. These guys have been in and out of the lineup so much.
But they're
But
expected to be back after the bye.
yeah, they both come back already and getting hurt again. So it, but yeah, to that point, when everybody's healthy, Drake Thomas will lose snaps. He will lose some playing time.
Yep. So do you see EJ Speed taking over the Houston linebackers, Shawn?
I don't. I've seen that being a mess all year long. And I've thought that in the offseason. I've stuck by that. I know you felt differently about it, but no, I don't trust hardly anybody out of the Texas right now at
Yeah.
linebacker.
So,
Even Aziz doesn't really do much for me.
so Ricky's crazy prediction has been that Aziz Al-Shahir gets hurt in around week 13 or so. Christian Harris is starting his spot, and EJ Speed finally takes over for Toto with a heavier snap count around that same point in time. So several weeks until we get to that point. Shawn's is probably the more realistic. Mine is a little bit of a bolder prediction. But at this point in time, it does not feel like you can play, other than Al Shire right now, you can't play any of these other linebackers unless you want to go, get like a 65 or 70% snap count. All right, Red Herring, good morning to you. Needs one flex from these 3 guys, Shawn. JD, oh, you got some more breaking news there?
Matt Milano is inactive. So how do you feel about that? Shaq Thomas versus JD Bertrand.
So Shaq Thompson played clearly ahead of Dorian Williams in the previous game in Milano's spot, and then Shaq Thompson moved to the green dot when Bernard got hurt. So I'm still feeling Shaq Thompson over Bertrand on that one.
Yep.
You?
Yep. I think he's safe to fire up.
Okay. All right. So with Red Herring's question, he needs one flex out of J.D. Bertrand, Jermaine Pratt, Darius Muasau, Xavier Watts, with 2 points for a solo, 1.5 for an assist, 3 for a sack, 1.5 for a tackle for loss.
These are all kind of tough matchups. Bertrand
Pratt,
and Muasau aren't on the field as much.
Pratt,
Pratt
if Bertrand's not on the field. Bertrand was all the way down. Pratt was down into the 60s last week.
And the Titans aren't a great offense, so that limits him. And then Watts is playing against the Dolphins, who also are a terrible offense. Limit snaps there too. So Muasau?
And with AJ Brown out, and you expect that after Barkley didn't get to, get even with his team in the first time they played him a couple of weeks ago, Brown out, I expect more of a Barkley game this week, which should create opportunities for Muasau, and I don't expect this game to be a blowout. Wow. But do you take the chance on sitting Bertrand based on the defensive coordinator saying, because Bertrand played every snap once he went in for Diablo last week, but the defensive coordinator did say, we got all these people that we're going to use to replace Diablo.
They're
while
still
he's out.
playing the Dolphins, who are not giving up a lot of snaps and who have not been a great matchup for linebackers or hardly anybody because of the lack of offensive production.
So even if Bertrand were to play 100%, it still might be like 50-something snaps in the low 50s, potentially even.
That would be great if Miami's offense could pull off 55 snaps. That's how I feel about Miami's offense.
And that might be what Muasau ends up playing snap-wise.
That's true.
I'm leaning towards Muasau on this one.
That's where I'm at. I think he's my best shot at being on the field enough to actually make the plays where the other guys, they're such bad offenses they're going against. Now, Tennessee did pick up a little bit last week, but I don't trust it right now. Not against Indianapolis. That defense that entire team's on fire. So I don't think it's a good matchup though.
Half witty. That's what people call me, a half wit. But boom. All right. He's asking between Tatum Bethune, Carson Schlesinger, or Shamar James. Ooh, 3 very, very interesting options. Shamar James, boy, it's hard to argue with the productivity he's been putting out there, Shawn. Yeah. Tatum Bethune against Houston.
Man, these are real tough right now. I think, man, that because the matchups themselves are tough.
Is there one in particular that you don't like that you would throw out right away?
That I don't like. I actually like all 3 of these guys about the same. It's really close for me.
It feels like a coin flip to a certain degree.
Yeah, I might lean Bethune on this. I think
I have Bethune 1, James 2nd, and have Schlesinger 3rd. Actually,
yeah, Schlesinger and James are neck and neck for me as well, just because they're tougher matchups. Yeah, I'm rolling Bethune. So I'm expecting a lot of short passes.
Okay, I just noticed this underneath, so I want to see if the big plays and pass defenses score more than tackles. Does that change? I don't think that changes our thought process for that linebacker question.
No, I don't. None of those are like real big play guys. We're looking at high volume tackle guys here.
Yeah, exactly. So now he's saying Alontae Taylor or Deron Bland.
Deron Bland.
Can I push back on that for a second? With Diggs going back to IR, no, I'm sorry. He didn't. Not that he. Wait.
Yeah, Diggs is on IR.
He did go to IR. I was getting him and Charvarius Ward, and then Ward went to IR the week before. So that to me means Bland is going to end up back outside, and we're going to see more of Reddy Stewart on the inside. Or do you think Kalen Carson plays more on the outside and Bland plays on the outside, but then moves in the slot? How do you see that playing out, Shawn?
If Carson is active and playing, I think he is outside, and I think Bland will end up playing a lot more outside this week because we do have Reddy Stewart, who is healthy, one of the few healthy ones. So we will probably see Bland outside more. But Taylor just hasn't done enough for me this year.
He's playing that slot role, but they're not blitzing him. He's not getting the big plays, not getting many tackles for loss.
Yeah, he was playing a bunch of inside and outside as well, like Bland. They're both very similar corners that they start outside, kind of jump inside. It's just the plays aren't coming to them, and just lack of the lineups themselves haven't been there for these guys. I just trust Bland more here right now.
Okay, we'll roll with Bland. Good luck with you. Good luck to you, Half Witty. And Harry is with us again, and Harry says, for a bench spot, if I can hold one player from next week onwards, who should that be? Godson or Tez Johnson?
And he's starting Kittle.
The current injury situation for
I
the Buccaneers makes
wait.
Tez.
Man, Gadsden's been on fire. Tez Johnson hasn't been targeted.
I'd have to go with Gadsden at this point in time.
Yeah, because even he's getting all those points even with a full set of wide receivers around him, whereas Ted Johnson is kind of dependent on as long as Godwin doesn't come back or somebody else could have a better week.
And Egbuka wasn't 100%. And
Yeah.
Kittle is love Kittle the player, but he is injury prone. And the 49ers will eventually get healthy with Ayuk's supposed to start practicing this coming week. Pearsall should be coming back soon since he didn't get put on IR. Jennings is starting to get healthy. With all of that, McCaffrey, the way they're using him. So I think I'd go with Gadsden over Tez Johnson to protect myself against Kittle as well.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Underrated World says, you guys are live. Yes, we are. Marco from the future says, good morning. Red Herring is ready to go too. All right, let's see what else we got here. Marco from the future now comes back with his question. Barton or Shamar James? Cody Barton or Shamar James? This might be the easiest question of the morning so far. Shamar James, Marco.
Yeah, I would take a couple offensive players to get more tackles than Cody Barton.
Cody Barton has just been so disappointing in the stat column the last few weeks, particularly considering he's playing 100% of the plays. The other interesting thing about the Titans, Shawn, did you see who they actually signed to the practice squad, then quickly signed to the active roster? Not just elevated for this week, but signed to the active roster?
Joe Bocci to the rescue. That's how bad it is down there.
Yeah. I could see Bocci starting to cut into Barton's time next to Cedric Gray as they start, Barton age. They're going to start looking at younger players potentially. Doesn't mean Bocci would take over, but boy, Cody Barton, there's a lot of reasons not to like him right now.
Yeah, it's wild because they had Kazir White on the practice squad, elevating him that one game and haven't used him since. And he may not even be on the practice squad anymore. I really haven't looked that closely. But I would like to see them not start Bocci, not start Barton. I would like to see James Williams come in alongside Cedric Gray. Just turn them loose. Just see what you have.
Yep.
They're not going to do that.
So, by the way, Marco, so what we're telling you is trade Cody Barton if you can before your trade deadline. All right. Kevin has one more question. He says, Alante Taylor, Marcus Jones, or Amani Cooper? Amani Hooker is what my guess is.
Okay. I can't think of any.
Yeah, that's all I can come up with is Hooker on that one. Yeah, Amani Hooker. He might have had a spell check thing override his thing, and he's got big three scoring once again. Hooker's been playing 80-some% of the snaps, Shawn, and they've been doing this rotation thing. And that was last week. The week before, I believe, was in the 70% range. They've been rotating him along with Woods and Diggs. Now, Woods questionable, but part of what I had in the notes that we hadn't gotten to yet was talking about the fact that if Woods does not play, does this open the door for Kevin Winston Jr. to finally play? And do they still keep a rotation to ease Winston in? With all that being said, even though I typically like to play safeties, I don't think I can go with Hooker right here.
I actually still might take Hooker over these two, just because I feel Marcus Jones is so big play dependent, and Alante Taylor has been kind of hit and miss for me as well. His tackles have been a little more solid lately, but we're looking at the Colts, who are pretty much going to walk all over the Titans. I really don't see a scenario where they don't. So I expect them to be up in the box a little more, trying to make some of these tackles.
All right, so your final call is?
I think Hooker's my final call.
Okay. All right. You're going to go with the safety over the cornerbacks even at the 80%. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Just looking at some actives and inactives real quick. Njoku active, Kyle Duggar inactive. We expected that. We didn't get to it yet, but Jalen Hawkins was back to 100%, practice in full. So Duggar was going to the bench anyway, but now he's completely inactive. Of course, he was questionable going to the game. A.J. Brown is inactive. Penix, Drake London, as you called out, Jalen Walker, Billy Bowman inactive. D. Alford with the Falcons. Now, we warned him last week it wasn't a great matchup, so be careful about playing D. Alford. Now, in this game against the Dolphins don't play a lot of snaps. They do play some three wide, but they don't have Tyreek Hill. I don't know if Alfred's going to get the opportunities again. So we're out on Alfred again this week, Shawn?
Yeah. Yeah, we're out.
Okay. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is inactive, folks. Jair Alexander has fallen way down. He is inactive. Quickly checking any other, looking for big names. Brees Hall is active. It looks like Mason Taylor is active for the question earlier. We're still not going to play him because we don't trust Justin Fields. You brought up Matt Milano earlier being inactive. Landon Jackson is inactive, which means Michael Hoyt is going to be active this week as a side note. Let's see. Texans, EJ Speed is not. All the linebackers, including Christian Harris, is active. Blah, 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 blah. All righty. And Kyler Gordon on injured reserve. Oh, boy. All right. I think that's all the big news from the inactives, folks. Try to do that really fast for you. Let's go to Only Jock in the Village, which I don't know if we've had Only Jock in the Village. If we did, I don't remember, and I apologize, but good morning to you, sir. Tackle heavy scoring. I need two from D Winners, Teddy Buchanan, EJ Speed, JD Bertrand, or Shaq Thompson. I think Buchanan is first on this list for me, Shawn.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Now, he needs two. So who you going with the second one?
I'm a big Winners guy, although he hasn't been picking up as many tackles as I would like lately.
It hasn't been the greatest of matchups for him. That's
true.
Contributed to it.
He's got
Houston
him
this week.
I still like him over these guys. Or I don't trust these other guys enough. Shaq Thompson is the only other one I think I would take over Winners if I did.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go as well. If you believe that Shaq Thompson is going to play that second linebacker role next to Milano, I would actually lean him slightly over D Winners for this week. But it's close. We're aligned on Buchanan, and I could see the argument for Winners as well. So we're a little bit, it's close either way. I think Shawn feels a little bit more strongly about D Winners. I feel slightly stronger on Shaq Thompson, if that helps to sway you in your decision. Good luck, Only Jock in the Village. OG needs 3 linebackers, 3 points for a tackle, 15 points for a sack.
Wow.
So he's got Servasia, Jamian Sherwood, Barrett Carter, or Carson Schlesinger.
Sherwood is my top guy.
I think Sherwood still stays at the top. So and he needs 3. So which one are we going to take off the list, Shawn? Servasia had a really big game this week, and the Saints have been giving up a lot of points to linebackers. So
I'm in on Servasia. I think I'm benching Schlesinger.
I'm benching Schlesinger out of this list with this scoring system as well.
Carter has been putting up a lot of tackles as well. It's what we thought Logan Wilson was going to do at the beginning of the season. Not so much now.
All right, Shawn, we're going to pick up the pace here to get through more of these questions. So we won't be able to analyze quite as detailed as we had been. So Ricky's got to do that. He's the problem usually. All right, Fresh Prince says, Tatum Bethune, Carson Schlesinger, Aziz Al-Shair, or Terrell Bernard. Start 1, 5 points for tackle heavy. I'm leaning Bethune on this one.
I'm leaning Bethune as well. Al-Shair was a bit intriguing, but I think I still like Bethune.
Yep. Al-Shair is second on that list for me as well. Dan B, 2387. How would you rank the following players today from best to worst in a half PPR? Hubbard, Otten, or Knoll? in a half PPR.
I imagine Noel's going to get a fair shot this week, and they're going to have to.
But it's a half PPR.
But it's half PPR.
I think Otten has a big game against the Saints this week with some of the injuries at wide receiver. I think I'm going to go in this order.
Hubbard's last for me. I think I go slightly Noel over
Bills
Otten.
give up a ton of points to running backs, though.
Yeah, but I think
they're going to run Bowdle and Hubbard all up and down against Buffalo. That game is a potential upset. As much as I made fun of Carolina this year.
Wow, you think Hubbard's going to take that big? Hubbard just didn't do enough this year when he's been given the chances. I would like to see Dowdle just jump back in there and just take over. I don't feel like Hubbard is sustainable. Like he's just not playing as well as Dowdle does.
To me, Otten is 6 catches. Of course, this is a half PPR.
I think Otten and Noel are pretty close. I like Noel slightly over Otten.
I'm going Hubbard, Otten, Noel. I just don't have the confidence in Houston's offense right now.
No, yeah, I totally get it. But I think they'll have to throw, and I think Noel is going to get a fair amount of touches this week.
See, and that might be where we differ a little bit because I don't know how much San Francisco's offense and Mac Jones is going to do against that Houston defense. So I expect it to be a low-scoring game. So but
I don't think they'll be able to run the ball at all. So I think Noel, the short game, well, probably Schultz is going to get a lot of shots now too. Now that I think about it, probably might be the Dalton Schultz game.
I do think it's going to be a Dalton Schultz game. As a side note, so Dan, we're going to end up splitting. My final call is Hubbard, Otten, Noel. Shawn is.
I'll go Noel, Otten, Hubbard. The complete opposite. So play Otten.
Yeah, exactly. Take the one in the middle where we both had a second. Sorry, Dan, that we split on that one. That one we just we don't quite agree on that one. Okay, so Marco from the future has a few questions coming up here. Let's hit them fast. Dean Bethune, Xavier McKinney, or Russo? Start one.
Bethune
it is as well for me as well. Marco, another question. Quincy Williams, Bernard To'o, McMillan from the Broncos, the slot guy, or Melifonwu?
Quincy.
You good to go Quincy in his first game back?
If they're saying he's ready to go, these guys are going to be on the field a lot today. So yes.
Quincy 1 for me as well, and Bernard is number 2 from that list. Gervin, Dexter, or Chason?
Is it Gervin Dexter or Dexter Lawrence?
Oh, I was thinking Gervin Dexter because he had the last name here.
Oh, it could be.
Chason over Gervin Dexter.
Yeah.
If it's Dexter Lawrence, who you've taken?
I'm probably still taking Chason. Because Dexter Lawrence hasn't been doing enough.
Exactly. He's got the name, but he's only produced like in really one game. Dale Cooper. Hey, Dale. Glad to have you with us. Stroud, Mariota, or Flacco? Flacco it is for me as well. I picked him up in a guillotine league with Jaden Daniels being hurt. And I'm not too worried about it, actually. J.K. Kelly is going with start 2 out of Nick Bolton, who should play more than about 20 snaps this week against the Raiders. Oh, my God. Edrin Cooper, Zervasia Dennis, or Shamar James?
These are a lot of good options here.
Some good options.
I'm leaning Dennis and Cooper.
I'm in on Dennis. I'm debating the second one if I'm going with Cooper
or Shamar.
Or Shamar James.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I was. Yeah, Bolden was last for sure. I think I want Cooper over James.
Oh man, Cooper really. Just the way they're using him.
Just the way. All right, but Pittsburgh's offense is all about running the ball, short passages with tight ends and everything.
You just convinced me. Dennis, Cooper, Shamar James, Bolton. That would be my order of the 4. All right. J.K. Kelly says start 2. So who are we benching out of Kirk Cousins, Snoop Huntley, and Dalton? I'm benching Snoop.
Snoop, yeah. I'm okay with Dalton, and Cousins is going to light up the Dolphins. Him and Mooney all day.
And then the trade talk for Cousins, or should Cousins start over Penix, so start all up? That'll be
trade him to the Dolphins. That'd be great.
Does Overshown take over the linebacker 1 spot in Dallas? Where would you rank him most of the season once active? The answer is we both agree on that, although he might be eased in during his first game back. But then after that, yes, that's what we both expect. Drop Bernard to stash him.
Terrell Bernard?
Yeah. I think you can get away with waiting another week.
Yeah.
I would do it. Would you do it right now, or would you wait a week?
As long as I have some other starters, yeah. But Bernard just has not produced this year. He's had so many bad games, which, again, bad matchups against bad teams and all. And then the injury concerns, yeah, I'm okay with dropping Bernard.
Okay, so Bryce, welcome, Bryce. I don't know if we've ever had a question for you. Glad to have you. Should I start Derrick Henry or Rashad White? I think they're going to try and run the ball 25 times again with Derrick Henry, and I think he's going to find the end zone. I heard on the radio that he's like minus 250 for a touchdown. I mean, you have to bet 250 to win 100, basically, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how much they feel like Henry will get a touchdown. But Rashad White against the Saints and the way the Bears ran through him, if I have to pick between the two, there are options. I am going Rashad White just barely over Derrick Henry. I think Rashad White is
if it's PPR, yeah, I'm with you.
Good call out. If I'm assuming PPR is part of that, and so Rashad White.
If it's not PPR, I will take Henry over White.
Okay.
But if it's PPR, yeah, White.
Marco has one more question. Otten or Pitts? With London being out, is that good for Pitts or is that bad for Pitts? Does it mean they can spend more time covering him, or does it mean he'll get more targets, or is it a combination of the two?
I'll take Pitts.
I'll take Pitts against Miami as well. I do think Otten's going to have a great game as well. I think he's 6 for 43 and a touchdown, something along those lines. But I think Pitts will do even better.
This is National Tight End Day.
It is National Tight End, and it is my Saints to boot. Okay, 3P1 has a question. Welcome back this week. There's his scoring system. How would you rank these defensive cornerbacks? We got Jordan Battle, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Marcus Jones, or Drew Phillips?
Battle number 1. Phillips number 2.
Yeah, Phillips number 2. I have Brisker number 2. They started using him a little bit more like a like. They actually blitzed him a couple of times last week. And, he doesn't have how many points you get for a sack here. I'm assuming Brisker's going to get a sack on without Gordon there. Brisker's going to get us a sack on Snoop this week too. So if he gets like 6 points for a sack as well, or 5 points for a sack, that pushes me with Brisker over Drew Phillips.
Yeah, even though the scoring here is way different, I still like the high tackle guys, just because it's hard to predict those deflections. It's hard to predict the interceptions. Although Byard is very capable of getting an interception, just like Marcus Jones could. However, they could also give me nothing, and I don't like nothing. So that's why I still like guys like Battle, Phillips, and then Brisker would actually be my third.
Fair enough. Okay. Evan Smith. How you doing, Evan? He is saying 1 flex, half PPR, no tight end premium.
Okay.
Tet McMillan. It's got to be Tet McMillan, right? Woody Marks and Goddard. No tight end premium. I do like Goddard a lot this week.
I do too.
But are you putting him in over the wide receiver? Tet McMillan going against that Buffalo struggling defensive secondary. I'm going.
I am, because I don't know what Andy Dalton's going to do. Andy Dalton might like one of these other Carolina Panthers as a receiver.
When Dalton went in for Bryce, he did target Leggett a lot more than Tet.
Right.
Oh boy, it's hard for me to sit Tet. I'm sorry. We're gonna split it. I'm going Tet, Goddard, Marks in that order. I think
Yeah,
Shawn's
Marks is
going
last.
Goddard,
yeah. Goddard, Ted,
Tet,
Marks for
Marks.
me.
Evan, sorry to spit on you. You heard our rationale and reason as to why, and then so you can make your pick based on those debates there. But sorry that we couldn't have a consensus for you. His start one, because he says that in the next comment. Isaiah Pacheco,
Devin Neal.
Devin Neal, Smith, Brashard Smith, I'm guessing, or Kyle Monangai. It's Pacheco or Monangai for me.
That's where I'm at. I'm actually leaning Monangai on this.
I think I'm gonna follow your lead and go with Monangai on that one as against Baltimore.
Swift is active. I did see that. So
Yeah, he is active.
These are all timeshares.
And Kareem Hunt is. I did see this morning. Kareem Hunt will be active as well. I'm going to go with Monangai as well. Okay. All right. Harry is saying trade deadline creates opportunities. Any player we should keep an eye on as potential snaps. Who is the linebacker to target if one of the starter gets traded?
Logan
Wilson is rumored to be traded.
Yeah.
So, and a bunch of people probably dropped him, and he asked for a trade. He's already been replaced by Barrett Carter. I haven't really heard many other rumblings about linebackers. There's been a lot about edges, wide receivers, running backs, but not really in the linebacker front.
Yeah. Edge is a big thing with guys like Hendrickson. Even Quinnen Williams has been talked about. No, they're listening to trades for him as well. So, no linebackers. I'm with you. Logan Wilson's probably the biggest one to watch right now.
Yep, exactly. So if people dropped him and you're looking for a stash potentially, he might be the one, Harry. And so in the interest of time, Dan's saying London is out, as did Harry, to let us know. Thank you guys for letting us know. Sorry I didn't have a chance to scroll down. Johan, do we know if
He is playing?
B. Bruns. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Brian Burns is my guess.
Oh, Brian Burns. Yes.
Yeah.
So Brian Burns is active. Here's the thing, Johan. He was in a walking boot coming out of that game. He was limited all week. I'm not expecting him to put up the type of stats or even get as many snaps as typical, quite frankly. So while he's active, I am very concerned about Brian Burns this week. So I'm glad we got a Burns question and we can talk about that. Should I start Mooney now that London is out? Not knowing all the details, I would definitely still play Mooney for sure. I think he'll get a lot of targets from Kirk Cousins. Oh, his other option is Kendrick Bourne. So Mooney or Bourne, I'm going against the Houston defense.
Yeah.
And Bourne only got 2 targets last week. I'm going Mooney.
Derek Stingley is no slouch, so I imagine he's over Bourne. So, yeah, I'll take Mooney.
Okay, Robert Holloway is asking, and we're a few minutes over, folks, but we're going to try and get through a few more of these questions. Robert is asking Kyle Van Noy or Alex Wright?
Alex Wright.
Alex Wright, particularly without knowing the scoring system. And you are welcome, Robert. Red Herring says, with Max Harrison coming back, is he worth a look at cornerback required leagues? I'd say no at this point in time.
I'm with you.
305 Cubes, PPR start 2, Pickens, Brees, or RJ Harvey? RJ Harvey's the easy sit for me in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way there.
TSB World says, howdy, need to start 2, Tua, Dalton, or Cousins? I'm in trouble.
Dalton Cousins, sir, who you're starting.
Yeah, we got. You can tell we have little faith in Tua, so we're going to go Dalton and Cousins, both TSB. Good luck to you.
Points last week. I'm not happy about that.
All right, Harry has another question here. With London out in PPR, who should I pick up? Booty, Moon, Shakir, or Troy Franklin? Jaden Higgins or Elik Eyamana?
Mooney for me. Higgins second.
Mooney is the top one for me as well. I was just thinking through a second one, but he looks like he only needs one. So we're going to go with Mooney on this one and hope he gets some of that London share. He and Pitts will divide it. Hey, glad to have you back. Perks of Cap, and I wish I knew how to pronounce that, by the way. You have to tell us next week what's the right way to pronounce that. Hello, gents. Is Montez Sweat a good addition to replace Jeffrey Simmons with? I would say not really.
If that's all you could find, then that's all you found.
I know the last couple of weeks he's starting to show improvement, so we'll give him credit for that.
It's against not Lamar Jackson, so there's you may be okay this week, but
Yeah,
not long term. Not long term.
yeah, exactly. This is a this week thing, particularly with Snoop in there. He might get you a cheap sack, and he did get a few tackles last week, actually. So maybe there's a little bit more hope for him, but boy, I'd wonder what the other options are. Isaac Salazar. Hello, Isaac. Good morning. New sub. Glad to have you.
Sweet.
Someone dropped Bush from Cleveland. Should I pick him up? Not knowing who you have to drop, the general answer would be yes, but the caveat is who do you have to drop?
Yeah, or if you just have the room on there, yeah, he's a fine one to pick up.
Yep, absolutely. Only Jock in the Village says, thanks for the advice. You're very welcome. He was Gervin Dexter, so we got the right one, and we're definitely not playing Gervin Dexter in that against Chase on. And let's see here. We have just a couple more quickies. 6 points for a sack, 1.5 points for a tackle. Servatia Dennis or Levante David. Ooh, a battle of the Bucks linebackers.
Yeah, because David could get that sack and knock out a few tackles for Dennis.
Servatia finally got a sack last week.
That's true.
Servatia's going to lead in tackles. David's going to lead in sacks. Who are you going with?
I'm still taking Dennis.
I think I'm going to go Dennis as well. All right, Fantasy Sports has a couple more, and this will be our last two, and we're going to wrap her up. Start Bernard or Quincy Williams?
Quincy Williams.
Quincy Williams is who Sean's going with.
Bernard has done nothing for me to justify starting him as an automatic kind of guy.
Okay. Well, Quincy Williams wasn't doing a whole lot before he got hurt either.
Yeah, I felt like he was still doing more than Bernard.
Enough. Okay, we'll give you Quincy Williams on this one, Fantasy Sports. Isaac said, yeah, I've got the room, just didn't know what y'all thought. Is he a green dot, I guess, or get a ton of snaps?
He is not a green dot.
But he's been getting 85 to 90% of the snaps and been
his
very
production
efficient.
is fantastic right now. Yes.
That is correct. All right, Half Witty says, thanks, guys. Y'all are awesome, man. Appreciate the kind words, Half Witty. Glad to have you. Fantasy Sports had one more question. One of our regulars, start Mooney or Noel? I'm going Mooney on this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, since this person's new, I'm going to grab his real quick. Rones, Stephon Diggs or Jalen Waddle?
Diggs. I don't know. Carolina's pretty tough. Are they ain't playing?
Ooh, boy, this is closer than it might appear on the surface. I think they're neck and neck, but I'm gonna go Diggs as well. I'm gonna go Diggs over Waddle. I think it's really close, but I'm leaning slightly toward Diggs, and you're on Diggs. All right.
Yeah.
Marco says thank you for the help. Isaac Salazar says perfect, thanks, and hopefully Devin Bush will come through for you at some point down the road, Isaac. And with that, Sean, we are done. Now, for those that stayed with us, thank you for staying with us, because I do need to tell you about the IDP Advice Show that we normally film on Tuesday nights. I am traveling starting tonight. I have one trip down to Miami, then another trip to Atlanta that I'm doing on Monday night. Sean is unfortunately going to be out of pocket as well for sports activities for his kids. So the show will be, if I'm able to record, I'm doing my best to absolutely record it, but it won't be nearly the lengthy, detailed one that we have. It'll be an abbreviated version of just the key takeaway. So we want to give you all a heads up on that. So come back for the Start Sit Show next week if you have additional questions that maybe we weren't able to help clarify on the advice show that we do on Tuesday nights normally, okay? And Sean, anything as we wrap up the show for everybody?
Good luck, everyone.
Hope everybody has a great week, everybody. That wraps us up. You can find me at RickyRod66 on X. You can find Sean at Sean8386. Give us a follow. And we hope we will see you here next week for Week 9 Start Sit. But with that, on behalf of Sean, this is Ricky wishing you, your family, your friends great health and happiness. Be kind to one another, and good luck in Week 8, everybody. And Isaac says, go Dolphins, and Fantasy Sports says, thank you, team. You're the best. Appreciate it, folks. Bye.